in this life. And Allah say in the Quran, "A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, al-mal wal banuna zinatul hayatud dunya." Money and children are the greatest blessing of the life. What makes the life beautiful, it's the money and children. What makes the life worth of living, it's the money and children. So having the children, it's a natural desire for every human being that want to have a children. So therefore Allah said again, زُيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ حُبُّ الشَّهَوَاتِ مِنَ النِّسَاءِ وَالْبَنِينَ. Allah beautified and Allah made the natural desire for every human being to have a loving spouse and also having a children. So this is planted on us and it's embedded on us. It's a human nature to have a loving spouse, meaning husband and wife, and also having the children. So therefore, there's so many stories in the Quran for the people to have the children. Even those people who didn't have the children to begin with. For example, the Imratul Aziz, when Aziz brought Yusuf, and this is a woman who couldn't have the children. So she said something very important. And the same thing that we see with the wife of the Pharaoh, which is Asiya, when she discovered Musa, both of those ladies say the same thing. And they say, Asa an yanfa'na aw nattakhidhahu walada. Perhaps these children or this son may benefit us, or we can take him as a son. So that's mean it's a natural desire for every human to have a children, even if you cannot have it, to adopt it, as we see now. A lot of people cannot have the children, so they do adopt it. So therefore, it's a natural desire for having the children, or you can adopt it. And it's a loving blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we human beings, we want someone to take care of us when we grow or we get older. Or maybe one day those children can benefit us. And every parent want to see, the children flourishing, thriving in this life to become a responsible, mature boy or girl. So therefore, it's even on the story of our father, Ibrahim, he didn't have a children. So what Allah did, and he asked Allah at a very late age for having children. And Allah bless him and say, you will have children. You want to will have children, and then you will even have the grown children. And the same thing with Zakaria alayhi salam. He didn't have children, and his wife was a barren. And he met him in this dua, and he said, Rabbi inni wahna al-azmu minni washta'ala rashu shayba wa lam akun bi du'aika rabbi shaqiyya. And he bring this very poetic dua in the Quran that we cannot even translate it into the English because it's so beautiful in Arabic. And he said, oh Allah, my hair lightening from a gray in your hair, and my wife is barren, and I can't have the children, so give me the children. Why? So this son or these children can inherit from me or inherit from the family of Jacob, and Allah accepting that. So therefore, it's amazing psychological reality that every human being in the face of the earth, you don't want to see, of course, anyone who's better than you. You don't want to see, your brother or your cousin or your neighbor, that they are ahead of you, either they have a better job than you, or have more money than you, or have more wealth than you. Except when it comes to the father for his son or the mother for her daughter. The only time a human being can accept that someone is better than him or her, it's the father. You always want your children to be better than you, and the mother always want her daughter to be better than her. Why? Because this is a miracle from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is a psychological reality from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that every human being wants their daughter or their son to be better than them. So, having said that, because you will accept that without even feel jealous. And you sometimes even brag about it and say, this is my son, have done this, or my daughter have accomplished this degree, and you even feel proud of it. And that's only happening with your own children. So the children bring a great rejoicing to our life, and as we said, with every single blessing comes with the responsibility. So no blessing that Allah will give it to you will not come with the strength and attachment to it, and it will come with the difficulty, as we said in the last week. Even with the husband and wife, it comes with the responsibility. So same thing with the children. So one of the primary responsibility for a Muslim parent is to raise your child to be a righteous Muslim, to be a good Muslim. That's your primary responsibility. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say in the Quran, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu, qu anfusakum wa ahlikum nar. Oh, ye who believe, protect yourself and your family from the hellfire. How do you protect yourself and your family from the hellfire? Do you need a carpet or do you need something to cover yourself? No. But what Allah means, you have to raise them to be a righteous Muslim. That's your responsibility. From the day zero until they become a mature boy and girl. And Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam will say in hadith, "Kullukum ra'i wa kullukum mas'ulun an ra'iyatikum." You all are shepherds and you all are responsible for your flock. Meaning, you all are responsible for your sheep. A father and mother, they both are responsible for these children. They produce it and bring it to this life. Allah will ask you in the day of the judgment, did you raise your child to be a righteous and a Muslim? So you both will not cross the sirat till you answer to Allah how you raise your child. So therefore, in today's khutbah, the emphasis it's on the parent. And it's directly to the parent and how you raise them in your child in Islamic way. So some of the practical advice for myself and you how to raise a righteous children are, number one, the best way to raise a righteous children is you to be a role model in your son or daughter's life. Because the first teacher that the children have it's you and your family. So if you don't have a good moral character, there's no way that your children will have a good moral character. If you're not polite in your life, there is no way that your children will be polite in their life. So therefore, it's a responsibility for each parent that you have to set a good example for your children. Because they will carbon copy from you at home. You are the first teacher. So when it comes to be a role model, there is a two element for the role model. One of them is a spiritual, and the second one it's a dunyawi, meaning psychological. So when you come to the psychological, the way you are, that's how your children will be. If you are a good Muslim in your house, you live the life of a Muslim person, your children will be there. If you are honest in your life, your children also will be there. So therefore, you always have to set them in a good example for your children so they can copy from you. And this is very simple. You don't need a PhD to understand it. The way you are in your home, that's exactly how your children will carbon copy from you. So that's why you always have to project a good image and home, be honest, be truthful for your children so they can copy from that. And this is exactly something that every doctor tells us, religion will tell us, psychology will tell us, anyone who knows anything about sociology, humanity will tell us, the way you are, that's exactly how your children will be. So that's the first element for being psychological. What about in the spiritual? In the spiritual way, the best example of that is the story of Sheikh. When he and Musa alayhi salam, they were going on the journey for Musa to learn from him. Why did Allah send Sheikh to kill that innocent young boy? Because Sheikh said, the Abawain Salihin. Because the parents of the children, they were righteous. They were good parents. So that's why Allah did not want to test this parent with an evil child or with a rebellion child. Allah didn't want to take that chance. So Allah substituted them in their children with the righteous child. So therefore, if you want to have good children, be righteous. What do we mean by the righteous? As we said last week, a righteous husband, a righteous wife. What is a righteous wife? A righteous wife, as Rasulullah said, the best wife is somebody إذا نظرت إليها أسرت. When you look at her, you get pleased, you get happy. We're not talking about a physical appearance. We're talking about her quality. The quality of the woman in the sheets. When you look at her, you just get happy. وإذا أمرتها أطاعت. When you ask her or command her to do something, she will obey you. And وإذا غبت عنها حفظتك عن مالك ونفسها. And when you go somewhere and you're not in the city, she basically will protect herself